PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance in California, EDD, the application form. On Friday, we went over how to fill out the application form. On Saturday, we went over once you do the form, how do you request benefits? And today is what we call PUA Q&A. We're answering your questions that you've delivered online on the channel below, and drop some more questions if you watch this video right now on what to do if there's some stalling or some problems or confusion about how to request benefits under PUA. In California, it's EDD, and generally it's otherwise called PUA. All right, these are some of your big questions. As always, like the video, subscribe, because we're doing updates on a regular basis. And I got to tell you, PUA is one of those stories that is not going away, because it's going to be a realm of confusion and mess. And it's going to really kick up next week, because the windows start on April 28th. Some of you have not gotten benefits, and come a few days from now, you're going to be really unhappy if you still haven't gotten benefits, and we will be here to guide you through the process and figure out what's going on. So subscribe and follow. All right, let's get to your questions. One of the big questions a lot of you had was unemployment, was the double job situation, where you are both an employee and an independent contractor. And as background, for clarification, whenever I say employee, I mean W-2. Like you work for Macy's, you work for Home Depot. Whenever I say independent contractor, I mean self-employed or independent contractor. Like you own your own business, you have your own LLC, you have your own corporation, or your DBA. As I said to you before, and I'm going to say it again, whenever I'm talking in these videos about self-employment, I don't care that you have an LLC and your LLC employs you. You are considered self-employed. You are not employed by your corporation for purposes of PUA analysis. That's how the states do it. Self-employed literally means self-employed, not working for someone under a W-2 situation. All right. So the first question a lot of you have is when you're in a two-job situation. There's two types of questions you're asking. One is you had a W-2 employment job in 2019, but you had an independent self-employment job in 2020. What should you do? The answer for that one is very simple. If the PUA certification for benefits is dependent upon the impact of your job as of the time that COVID-19 hit. So if you only had one of these two jobs when COVID-19 hits, that's where your focus is. So when you're going through this analysis, you need to focus on which job did you have when COVID-19 hit and which one was impacted. So of the two, if you only had one, but last year you had a different one, who cares what you had last year? That's not what PUA is about. It's about what job did you have when COVID-19 hit. If it's self-employment job, then you are a self-employment person. You are a PUA applicant. If it is not self-employment, if it was a W-2 situation, then you are not a PUA applicant. As I've said to you before, PUA is not for employees. Unemployment is. The benefits are the same, but normal UI, unemployment benefits, is for employees. All right. Next question that a lot of you had was, what if you had a job lined up and you couldn't report to the job? That's a really hard question. The point is, if you had a job lined up, was the job discontinued as a result of COVID-19? You need to think through that process and that analysis and look at the website very carefully, because in those circumstances again, if you had a job lined up, and I remember someone asked this as a college student was getting out of college, and they had an employer had a job lined up for them. My answer to that was very easy and simple, was, hey, that is not PUA. PUA is for self-employed individuals. A kid out of college getting a job from an employer under a W-2 situation, that's unemployment benefits, maybe, but it's definitely not PUA. All right, another question a lot of people had was, what happens? God, there was one version where there's two jobs and both jobs are impacted as a result of PUA. This was the hard question. You were both a W-2 and an independent contractor when COVID-19 hit, and both were impacted as a result of COVID-19 hit. The best example is you worked at Macy's, but you're also an Uber driver. Macy's, you're a W-2, you're unemployment, you're UI. Uber driver, you're not a W-2, you're a W-9, you're self-employed. That's PUA. And your question was, which one should you apply for? Really hard question. I don't know if I know the answer, but I will say to you that that benefits are dependent upon earnings, and they're going to certify you initially at the base level, as I've indicated to you. Base level is approximately 139 to 169 per week. The federal government throws $600 on top of that. If you are content with a check like that, which is about anywhere from $700 to $800 a week, if you're content with a check like that, then don't worry about the rest of what comes after the sentence. But if you really want to make a pitch to your unemployment aid department to say, hey, I made a lot of money in 2019 and 700 and I should not be at base level, then you better be ready for that paperwork and that mindset, because basically what you're saying is that if you did financially quite well for that particular job in 2019, you should be getting more than the base level benefits. Well, then tee it up, get ready for that path of documentation. And of those two, which of those two jobs is the one that paid you the most? All right. PPP and PUA. Someone asked a question. What happens if I get my PPP loan approved? What happens with PUA? That's also an easy question to answer. And you should know this answer. PPP is a loan that requires the employees to get back to work, requires the salaries to be paid, whether they are independent contractors, employees, and submit those payments to the loan processing bank, the lender, by mid-June for loan forgiveness. When you get the PPP loan, you just don't hold the money and go to Disneyland. You actually spend the money and get people back to work. PUA is the opposite. PUA concerns people who can't get back to work because of COVID-19. So if you're accepting PPP money, that means that you are actually, in your mind, able to get back to work, or know you're going to be able to get back to work. PUA is for people who cannot get back to work or have had reduced work because of COVID-19. Now, I will express to you this question gets even more complicated than that. The reason why is the following. PUA also applies to self-employed individuals. If you look at the last step, self-employed individuals who had a reduce in their amount of work as a result of COVID-19. It does not have to be full unemployment. So a self-employed individual who used to work 40 hours a week is reduced to 2 hours a week because of COVID-19. They may be qualified for PUA. Now, under the PPP loan, you have to get people back to work, but how does that apply in a way that is not contradictory to PUA? Really, really difficult. But what I would suggest for you to think through in your mind is that the PPP loan has to have those salaries paid out for approximately 2 months by the month of June. And if you are one of those employees, which I assume you are because you're self-employed, then PUA just runs afoul. So, and I remember the person who asked the question. The best thing to think about is PUA is processing, stay-at-home orders possibly still in place. Things are in the horizon. So you don't need to worry about things until they happen. So, for example, if you get a stay-at-home order lifted, you get a PPP loan granted, then your universe is changing very quickly as to the PUA money. All right, next question. A lot of you, I think it was on Friday, we reported that the California EDD website has a glitch. And the glitch is for one type of scenario. Sad to report, as of Sunday, that glitch is still there. The glitch concerns individuals who are previously on unemployment benefits and know that under the CARES Act, that the period of unemployment benefits is extended additional weeks. and you will get that $600 per week. Uh, the glitch with the unemployment website is that in California is it's not seeing that extension, it's not processing the extension. I don't know what verb to use for it, but it's not working. Here is what I can say to you in my thoughts about this. The website for PUA people who are different than you doesn't have a place for anything for those people to get their $600 per week from the federal government. And so for you to think that there's some place that you need to do that to get your $600, maybe it's reassuring to think that the people who are getting it in the other scenario, they don't have a place on the website either to get the $600. One of you asked in the comments is, where do you apply for the extension? There is no place on the website to apply for extension. It is presumed that it's supposed to apply automatically. Um, I'm sorry in saying, and I'm trying to explain someone else's website, which is not a website I own or operate, but it's someone else's website, which is EDD, and I'm trying to explain why things aren't there. But there is no tab there to request for an extension. There is no place there to ask for the $600 per week. There is no place there to get those additional weeks of benefits, which in this case is your base benefits and the $600. I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking that they are still not up to date, and I'm hoping for your sake that this is just a process that they have to modify. I will tell you, and this gets to the next question, that the website has changed. We've been reporting these videos since, I think, this is only the 8th day. I mean, thank you for your patronage. I mean, we've been killing it on this channel because of you, and we told you to apply for on the before the 20th and get them in. But a lot of you have asked about for PUA. Okay, you went through the process, you haven't heard anything back, now what? And we told you sign into the portal, go to the right, go where it says manage claims, click where it says manage claims, then go up and start clicking on the buttons and see if you need to certify for benefits for 1 week, see if any information is in there. Some of you didn't respond back. I don't know what that means. Some of you said you clicked in there and you saw nothing. That may mean that they're slow, the state is very slow in getting to these applications. Other people who did apply on the April 28th, who are already in the system, it's fast. They can go in and they can click things and they can go very fast. What I will update to you about the following is good news if you're in California, bad news if you're in other states. And here I'm going to the state-to-state comparison. In other states, after you are in the system for requesting for PUA, it's also the same for unemployment benefits, you have to certify for benefits every week. So you have to make a mental note of yourself, go into the website, go up to the tab, certify requests for benefits, click the button. You're asked about 10 questions like, were you physically able to work? Were you mentally willing to work? And answer those questions, and you press submit. And once you press submit, then you go to your payments tab and you'll see 133 or 169 processing to be sent to you by payment. That means you did right. You process that payment to be sent to you. You have to do that every single week. In California, they do it easier for you. They actually say on their website now, and they did not do it on the 28th, but they now say it now, you do not have to certify for benefits every week. And we're going to drop that story, that news article, into a comment, and we're going to pin it for you. Once you go in and just certify one time for the month of March to, I think it's May something, you don't have to certify for benefits anymore. You only have to certify one time, and bam, it's going to immediately process weekly payments for every single week for that entire period and spew out the payments for that right away. So that's the good thing. In other states, you have to sit around and wait for the week to happen, request the payment, then the payment is issued. In California, they are actually doing it right now because they don't want the strain on their servers and their computers. It's too much work. All right, what else? A lot of you have asked questions about PUA in an employment situation where you're a W-2. Remember, PUA is not for you. PUA is for individuals who are self-employed or independent contractors. Others of you have talked about setting up multiple user logins. Stay away from that, please. I'll tell you why. It's because when you get in there, it's going to ask for your social security number. Your social security number is the same for that user account as that the other user account. It's not going to forego the situation. A lot of questions. If you have more questions when you're watching this video, drop them in the comments below. We get back to you within about 4 weeks. 4 weeks, 4 hours. We get back to you in about 4 hours. Maybe your state agency gets back to you in 4 weeks. We get back to you in about 4 hours. And your comments help us, because when we know where there's problems, we also then can guide you as to where the solution may be. Moreover, the rest of you see each other's comments, and that's what's so wonderful about this channel. No one else is doing this. No one else is creating a forum in which you can all communicate with each other in the comments and say, yeah, I did this, and no, I did this, and I pressed this button, and that helped. You see other people's comments, and you learn from the comments, because then you realize, oh, maybe I didn't do this. These websites are not so inherently complicated. I got to tell you that. When you get into these websites, there's really only 5 tabs and maybe 2 sections. The worst thing you could do is just click, 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 click across all the buttons. I ask you to watch our video from yesterday on PUA and watch our video from the day before on PUA if you still have more questions. The first one on Friday was about how to fill out the form. The second one was about how to request for benefits. Watch those 2 videos and watch this one. If you still have questions, none of that is still answered, drop comments and we'll get back to you. It's a difficult process, and I will guess that come next week, PUA is just going to blow up with a realm of confusion, because a lot of you may not get benefits. You may see no updates in your website. You may see no indication that a claim is being processed. The way you know things are happening is you go in, you click the right section of the website, or you click something about claim or something about benefits or something about payments, and you'll go in there and you will see something listed on a row, each row at a time, for particular weeks, and it'll say 139, 169, 600, 600. That's how you know you're getting money. That's how you know the system has worked and has processed your information. When you're in the system, when everything is working for you, and you go in there, these things appear instantly. It's not like a few hours. When you request the payment instantly, or you certify for benefits for that period, you go to the next tab, it's there right then. There's no waiting time. That's how these systems work. Lastly, and this is also a big surprise, and no one else is telling you this, you know, and we've told you this, that the benefits are, the base benefits are about 130, 169 per week. But in the month of March to approximately July, there's additional $600 thrown on top of that by the CARES Act, by the federal government, that you'll get paid as well. The only one that's going to tell you this is this video right now. The payments are sent separately in some cases, so don't get a high alarm. And in some cases, they're not even in the portal. So you may see a check arrive to you for $1,200, and you wonder, oh, finally, like, why was there nothing in the portal about that $600 and $600? For some reason, they're sending payments different ways and different manners. In some cases, your state may do direct deposit, and yes, they're mailing you paper checks for the $600. In other states, they're doing debit cards, and your check for the $600 may come in the mail as well. It's just all over the place. I'm sorry if it's very complicated and it's very confusing, but as a business owner, you as an independent contractor, you may have never done anything like this. And if you're just a person who has been unemployed and you're still unemployed as a result of COVID-19, I'm sorry you've had to go through this. This channel is here to help you. And drop your comments, drop your questions. We'll get back to you. Subscribe, like the video, because we have updates daily. daily. So please don't just watch this video and think nothing else is going to happen, because you know there's something that's going to happen, and we're going to tell you what it is as soon as it happens. So with that, stay with LALATE for more.